that we will end up with many more unemployed, and particularly also people in the gray economy, which are not counted for, who lose their jobs. So we will see definitively a lot of anger already now, but probably increased by the end of the year, because this crisis will be with us until we really have found a remedy. So we have to prepare for a more angry world. And how to prepare? It means to take the necessary action.
Now, you may be saying to yourself, Minutes of Horror, what are you doing over there? What you just heard was a 37-year-old man squeezing his nips out of rage and anger. Now you may be saying, that's a little too weird. I'm going to go ahead and unsubscribe. But before you unsubscribe, I do want to say one thing. This video only gets weirder because people who are not from the United States, not born and raised in the United States, has not come over to the United States to contribute, do not pay taxes, they're not lawmakers, not politicians, not leaders of any kind for the United States, are deciding what's best for you and me in the United States. Looking like the final villain of any Mortal Kombat game, Klaus Schwab has made a very scary admission about Los Angeles, California. How there will be no more private cars, how there will be no more highways, and these highways will be turned into parks. I'm going to go ahead and play the video now, but listen to how sure he sounds about the events that are coming for 2030.
We meet for the 20th. I hope I will have the pleasure still to be invited for the meeting. When we meet for the 20th Governance Summit, you will use an app like Uber, but not anymore to call some driver, but an automatically guided car, a self-driven car, will come to your hotel or wherever you are and will bring you to the airport. No, Los Angeles is one of the cities with the heaviest traffic, who told me in 2030 Los Angeles will be private car driven free. And this will allow to transform highways into parks and other public spheres.
Now, if that wasn't scary and ominous, I don't know what is. Some people are afraid of the boogeyman. I'm afraid of the Klaus Schwab hiding underneath my bed. My wife tells me, you're a grown man, why do you have to sleep with the light on? And I tell her, well, the Klaus Schwab is going to get me. Are you going to protect me? No, I didn't think so. Did you also happen to pick up on when he said you're no longer going to use the Uber app, that some driver is no longer going to take you to the airport? The way he scoffs when he says some driver. Now, many people use apps like Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, not only for transportation, but for a job as well. It's a good paying job. Some driver is now going to be out of a job because AI, an automatic car, is now going to come and pick you up. But that is not the scariest part. The scariest part is when he said California will be private car free. There will be no more highways. Highways will now be turned into parks. So what exactly does that mean? That means you're going to have everything you want, everything you need in your 15-minute smart city. You will no longer drive. Everything you need is just a walk away. Oh, you want to travel to another state, but you don't have a car? No problem. Our self-guided car will come get you and take you to the airport. But don't forget, you are only limited to 4 flights per lifetime. This is to combat climate change. Even though our private jets cause heavy emission, we need to cut back on public transportation. Now, this just isn't going to be Los Angeles. This just isn't going to be California. This is not just going to be the United States. This is going to be the whole world. The 2030 agenda is about transforming the world. This agenda is a plan of action for people, planet, and prosperity. It also seeks to strengthen universal peace and a larger freedom. We recognize that eradicating poverty in all its forms and dimensions, including extreme poverty, is the greatest global challenge and an indispensable requirement for sustainable development. All countries and all stakeholders acting in collaborative partnership will implement this plan. This sounds very nice, this sounds wonderful, but this 2030 agenda does come with a price, and that price is your freedom. They're already telling you you will not own a car, you will not be able to travel. The 2030 agenda does come with 17 goals, so I do wonder what other freedoms we are going to have to give up. There are going to be people that do not want to give up their cars. They don't want to give up their way of life, their travel. They don't want to give up their homes or their land. And why I mention homes and land is that you have to understand, in order for them to create these smart cities, they must do away with the old to bring in the new. They must alter the land to make these 15-minute smart cities more convenient for the populace. Exactly like what we saw in Maui. The people in Maui did not want to sell. They did not want to give up their lands. These are their ancestral lands. This is their burial grounds. And because they did not want to sell, where their hand was forced for them, they made sure that many of these people could not reclaim their lands. They also made sure that their children could not reclaim these lands as well. It is no longer a conspiracy theory, because it's now caught on camera, that many of these people were blocked from leaving. Many of these Maui residents could not evacuate these fires because the police and these roadblocks were blocking them from doing so. And the only people to survive these fires were the people who disobeyed these orders, who disobeyed the police.
There was a police officer at the bottom. There was cones blocking the road if you wanted to drive like towards Ka'anapali, Napili side. Myself and the line of traffic I was in continued straight down Lahaina Luna Road, headed towards Front Street.
911 emergency, how can I help you?
I'm calling down from Lahaina. We're on Front Street in Baker. There are a bunch of cars stuck in traffic down here, and the structures around us are on fire.
You were just stuck. There was nowhere to go, and there was no help.
Noelani Todd took video of Baker Street as the fire moved within 1 block of Front Street.
By about 4:10, we get to Baker Street. At 4:17 is when we got that emergency alert.
The text message Noelani received from Maui Emergency Management reads, "Evacuation order issued on Maui Island for Kilauea Mauka subdivision in Lahaina, a neighborhood a mile away."
You are not safe. You gotta find some way to get to the ocean.
The mother of 3 says she even started contemplating going into the water as traffic stalled and conditions worsened.
By 4:24, we're engulfed in black smoke. You can't see more than 4 cars ahead of you. Sparks start engulfing the car, shooting sideways across next to the cars. Shortly after that is when the parking garage at the outlet mall went up.
Okay. And nobody was there actively fighting the fire. Firefighters were seen here a mile away at 4:46 p.m. by Tamura's in the industrial complex. Meanwhile, Front Street becomes engulfed.
There is so much video evidence. There is so much proof that these residents were stopped from leaving. As the fires raged on, as they started to engulf their cars, the water was shut off. And yet, nobody was charged with a crime, and this is what it is. It's a crime. It's murder. And they got away with it. Maui was the test run to see how much they can get away with before the population starts asking questions, before the population starts to show resistance. Maui even had its own instruction manual, the Hili Mai 2040 Agenda for Maui. This Maui 2040 Agenda is no different than the 2030 Agenda for the rest of us. In this instruction manual, they state how they want to make Maui more eco-friendly, how they want to make Maui more friendly for the climate. They want to get rid of cars. They want to get rid of unnecessary travel. They want to make travel more simple, where you can just walk everywhere. You can bike everywhere. There has been a lot of money that has gone into this. There has been a lot of contracts that are already signed. And when it comes to the 2030 Agenda, it's no different. There are already key players. There are already investors. There are already contracts that are signed as well. So they are going to force this 2030 Agenda on us any way possible. They will take your cars, your homes, your lands, your jobs, and you will oblige. Because if you don't oblige, here comes the big bad boogeyman that is climate change that will force you to oblige. What's even scarier is how many people are still asleep to this. How many people think this is all just a conspiracy theory, even though this is all over the United Nations website, even though you have the WEF chairman, Klaus Schwab, telling you, we are going to take your jobs, we are going to take your cars, you are going to have a new way of living. And yet, people still want to live in bliss. They still think it's all just a conspiracy theory, that we are the crazy ones, even though they are telling us to our face what they have planned. The ride to the year 2030 is going to be a scary one. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, as any engagement does help the channel grow. Once again, thank you so much for your support.